live in San Diego, sunny San Diego.
It's beautiful here, man.
Absolutely. And of course, if it's 3 o'clock Eastern time, that can mean only one thing. It's time for the goRIA live stream. And as you all know in the audience, we do these every Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern time to highlight what new content we have on www.goria.com. And that's why we have with us Matt Halloran.
Woohoo!
Matt,
I'm happy to be here, brother.
all right. So Matt Halloran, as most of you probably know, is the founder of ProudMouth and a podcast aficionado. And,
Yes.
and he and I actually recorded a podcast just a couple weeks ago, and it's live on goRIA.com right now. And we're going to talk a bit about that.
Wonderful.
All right, Matt, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
All right. So atomic content.
Yeah.
I know what it is because I spent about an hour talking to you about it. But what is that exactly? If you could sum it up for us.
Yeah. So the idea is advisors have all sorts of content that they've created, right? So webinars, seminars, white papers, and books, right? But they don't realize they can take that and turn that into a year's worth of content by using a very easy 5-step method. And that's what we spent a lot of time talking about. I think a lot of advisors are like, well, man, nobody's downloaded my white paper, or I only had 20 people on that webinar. Content begets content. And we believe that you should just rinse, lather, and repeat, which is actually step number 5. But that's exactly what people should be doing.
Absolutely. And it's funny. We produce a lot of content now with goRIA. Yeah. And honestly, up until we did that podcast together, it was like a one and done.
Yes.
Now I'm going to rinse, lather, and repeat. It's like, we do a lot of work to put these together. When we come on location, which I love doing because we have access to top talent like yourself.
Thank you.
Why use it just once?
Well, that's what we've never understood. But actually, I know the objection, which is very fascinating to me. So a lot of people who create content think that everything they have to do is fresh and new, because I've already said that before, Chuck. This drives me crazy. I've already said that before. Well, here's the deal. Nike has had the same tagline since 1987. People have to hear your message, and this is statistically proven now, 20 times before they will click on any of this. 20 times. So you have to be wildly repetitive. You create unbelievable content. If somebody wasn't there, if somebody swiped by accident, you have to be able to repeat it over and over.
That is such great advice, because so many advisors now are doing content marketing.
Yeah.
Yours truly.
Yeah.
And to use it just once, as I reflect on that after our talk, it just makes no sense whatsoever. So I really appreciate you sharing that with me and then ultimately our audience.
Yeah. It's just, I was a practice management consultant and a life coach for a long time, John. So here's the deal. I hate it when people waste time. And if you have spent hours into a white paper, hours into a book, hours into a podcast, hours into a video series, take those hours and turn them into 20, 30, 40 hours worth of just unbelievable posts and content. And you can, by just taking little, we call it the gold. So you find the gold, right? So when you and I were podcasting, there's a couple of things that you had said that really jumped out. And my team was like, that's the gold. And so we take that, and you find the gold. I just back up just a little bit. It has to have some sort of emotional connection. You feel it. It makes you think. It elicits a physical response. That's the gold. That's what's going to get other people's attention. You take that gold, you create more gold, you interact with the gold, and then all of a sudden you rinse, lather, and repeat. And that's how this whole system works.
That is so true. So I'm fairly new to the podcasting game, but every time I listen to one of ones that I've done, it's like that. Like, oh, this is gold. But why have it buried in minute 17, right? When you could just keep pressing that button.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that never naturally came to me. And that's why I think good coaches like yourself are so important, because it's an obvious thing. Like, it's not rocket science.
Right.
But, I've been doing this for 2 years, never thought of that before. And I think it's brilliant.
Well, here's the deal. Why would you think about it? Right? You have a whole other job, dude, right? I mean, you're a really, really busy person, and this is all we do. And really what we found was we did this to grow our business. So ProudMouth is only 7 years old.
Yeah.
Right. And so we've, 10 times literally our size by just doing this atomic content method. And I was sitting down with our team about 12 months ago, about a year ago, and we're like, we need to name this, right? Because my business partner, Kirk Lowe, is a marketing and branding genius. And so he was like, let's call it atomic content, because we have this whole rocket thing that we have going on with our academy and all of that. And so we distilled it. Okay, what are the 5 steps? It's got to be 3s, 5s, or 7s. We know that in the world of marketing. We figured that it was going to be 5 steps. And then we started implementing it not only with all of our clients, but we started implementing it for ourselves. And dude, our posts, we were getting views and we're getting clicks and impressions. It's just what you need to do.
That's awesome. So the whole idea of doing these little live streams is to get people to check out www.goRIA.com. So we don't want to give away the whole show. You already gave us a couple of tips. Give one more to close on, and we'll call it a day.
So let's talk about creating the content very quickly. Think about when you're sitting down with a client and you know that, oh my God, I have to answer that same question again. Because this is the advisor's world. In the discovery and financial planning meetings, when you're talking about RMDs or whatever, that's content. So anytime you're sitting down with a client, keep a yellow pad around and say, okay, this is the 15th time I've answered this question. That's your content. That's gold. And then now what you can do is you can use that and rinse, lather, and repeat, and hopefully not have to say the same thing in every freaking client meeting.
That's perfect.
Thanks,
okay.
man.
Thank you for joining us, Matt.
Thanks, brother.
Always great hanging out. We'll see you later today as well. And for those of you in the audience, I'll be back in another hour or so with some more content here live at the Ascension Conference in San Diego. Thanks for joining us.